The morning started like any other episode of The View, a mixture of hot topics. Lively discussion and a celebrity guest to keep things exciting, but no one expected Samuel L. Jackson's appearance to end in chaos. The actor, known for his explosive personality and unapologetic honesty, joined the panel to discuss politics in Hollywood, but from the moment he sat down, the atmosphere felt tense. Whoopi Goldberg, seated beside him, was cordial but visibly cautious, her body language tight. Fans watching sensed something was off. Even before the first question dropped, Samuel began by discussing censorship in films and how Hollywood had changed over the years. "We used to be able to say what we meant," he said. "Now we're too scared to offend anyone." Whoopi nodded slightly but interjected, "Well, there's a line between free speech and respect." That's when the temperature shifted. Samuel fired back. "Respect? Respect got turned into policing language. That's not freedom. That's fear." Joy Behar tried to lighten the mood, but it was clear something deeper was brewing between the two icons. As the discussion moved to political correctness in media, Jackson doubled down. "Look, I've been in this game for decades," he said. "I didn't get here by playing safe or being polite. I kept it real." Whoopi replied calmly, "And you're respected for that. But keeping it real doesn't mean you get to dismiss what others feel." Samuel leaned forward, his tone sharp. "I'm not dismissing feelings, Whoopi. I'm questioning how we got so soft that telling the truth is now offensive." The audience reacted with a mix of applause and nervous laughter. Sonny Hostin attempted to steer the conversation elsewhere, asking Jackson about his upcoming film, but Jackson wasn't done. "I just think we need to stop pretending every word is a weapon," he said. Whoopi sat up straighter. "And I think you need to understand that words are weapons to people who've been hurt by them." That's when the tension boiled over. Jackson threw up his hands.
"Yeah.
So what? We all walk on eggshells forever now?" he asked incredulously. "That's not progress. That's paralysis." The room went quiet. Whoopi, never one to back down, responded, "No one's asking for paralysis, Sam. We're asking for growth. Growth means adapting." Jackson, now visibly frustrated, muttered, "Sounds like censorship with extra steps." The audience gasped. Whoopi's face hardened. "Censorship? You're on national TV saying whatever you want? You call that censorship?" Jackson shot back. "I've had scenes cut, scripts changed, roles pulled because someone thought line was too much. That's not freedom. That's control." The vibe on set had turned electric. Joy tried to step in, chuckling nervously. "Let's all take a breath, huh? We love you both." But neither Jackson nor Goldberg was backing down. Samuel leaned in and asked, "When's the last time you said something real without checking 10 times if it was okay?" Whoopi answered coldly, "Every day, 'cause being real isn't about being reckless." That line drew cheers from part of the audience, but others clapped for Samuel. The panel was now split, and so was the crowd. Jackson stood his ground. "You know what's reckless? Letting fear dictate art. Letting outrage mobs kill creativity." Whoopi crossed her arms. "You mean accountability?" "That's not fear, Sam. That's evolution." The word evolution seemed to hit a nerve. Jackson laughed bitterly. "So now I'm outdated? Not evolved enough for the new Hollywood?" Whoopi didn't flinch. "Maybe not if you think growth means weakness." That exchange felt like the point of no return. Even producers off-camera seemed uncertain about whether to cut to commercial. Despite the intensity, the show continued. But tension hung in the air like a storm cloud. Sarah N. jumped in, trying to calm things down. "Maybe we're all just reacting to a changing world differently," she offered. Samuel looked at her and replied, "Exactly. Some of us are reacting honestly. Some are hiding behind politeness." Whoopi cut in sharply. "And some are using honesty as an excuse to be arrogant." Samuel stood up from his chair momentarily, shaking his head. "I don't need this." The crowd gasped again. He didn't leave yet, but it was clear his patience was gone. Whoopi's voice grew. "Firmer, Sam. I love you, but you're not always right. You can't bulldoze over everyone just because you've been in the game a long time." Jackson responded, "And you can't pretend like your version of morality is universal." The air was heavy, Felt like watching two legends clash in real time, their shared history not enough to soften the blows. Jackson's eyes burned. With intensity, Whoopi's expression was carved from stone. At this point, the segment was completely off script. Cue cards were ignored. Producers whispered frantically. "No?" The camera lingered too long on awkward silences. Then Jackson crossed a line. "You've been part of the problem, Whoopi," he said. "You act like a gatekeeper for what's acceptable, and that's dangerous." That comment struck deep. Whoopi replied with quiet rage. "Don't you ever accuse me of silencing people. I've spent my life lifting voices that were ignored." But Samuel, unrelenting, said only the ones who say what you want to hear. The room froze. You could hear the shuffling of papers backstage. Joy Behar gave up trying to intervene. Okay, she muttered, but no one was listening. Jackson looked ready to walk out. Whoopi's eyes narrowed. "If you're going to insult me on my show, maybe you should leave." Samuel didn't hesitate. "Maybe I should." He stood up again, this time fully prepared to go. Producers scrambled. One crew member signaled to go to break, but the camera stayed live, capturing every second of the meltdown. As he stood near the edge of the stage, Whoopi addressed the audience. "This is what happens when people confuse anger with wisdom." Samuel turned back around. "And this is what happens when people mistake control for compassion." The verbal blows were relentless. Some fans in the crowd looked stunned, others exhilarated. One shouted, "We still love you, Sam." Another yelled, "Team Whoopi." The line had been drawn. The middle ground had crumbled. Finally, a producer stepped onto the stage, rare for the view, and gently asked Jackson to step backstage. He didn't protest. "This ain't the space for real talk anymore," he muttered as he walked off. The camera cut to commercial just as he disappeared behind the curtain. Whoopi didn't speak during the break. She sat still, hands folded, clearly rattled. The audience murmured nervously. No one knew if the show would return to normal. When the broadcast resumed, Whoopi addressed what had happened. "We have passionate guests, and sometimes things get heated," she said carefully. Samuel L. Jackson is a friend, but friends can disagree. But her tone was cold. The warmth from earlier, it was gone. Joy added awkwardly, "We're all grown-ups here, and grown-ups argue." Sonny nodded. "Let's move forward." But the viewers knew something had shifted. This wasn't just an argument. It was a fracture. Social media erupted. Within minutes, clips from the confrontation trended on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Some praised Jackson for keeping it real. Others accused him of being aggressive and dismissive. Meanwhile, Whoopi's fans applauded her composure and called her the voice of reason. The debate online mirrored the divide on stage. Commentators from all sides weighed in. News outlets rushed out think pieces. What had started as a promo interview had turned into a cultural moment. That evening, Jackson posted on Instagram, "Stand by everything I said. Growth doesn't mean silence." His comments were met with both support and criticism. Whoopi, for her part, remained silent on social media. But the next day, The View released an official statement, calling the exchange an example of why conversations about change are difficult but necessary. Behind the scenes, producers wondered whether Samuel would ever return as a guest. As of now, the answer looked doubtful. Fans of both celebrities remained deeply divided. "Samuel was out of line," one viewer tweeted, "but he said what a lot of people feel." Another wrote, "Whoopi handled herself like a queen. Didn't stoop to his level." The conflict touched a nerve because it went beyond two personalities. It became about the larger conversation happening across society, how to balance truth with tact, honesty with sensitivity, passion with respect. In the following week, other celebrities weighed in. Some defended Samuel, saying creatives are being suffocated by political correctness. Others backed Whoopi, arguing that public figures have a responsibility to evolve with the times. For a full week, entertainment news was dominated by the feud. Old interviews were dug up, past comments reanalyzed. The rift became more than gossip, became a symbol of clashing eras and ideologies. Eventually, The View returned to business. As usual, but the ghost of that argument lingered. Guests behaved more cautiously. Producers issued tighter topic briefings, and Whoopi, though still herself, seemed slightly less playful in the weeks that followed. As for Jackson, he stayed, busy with new projects, but avoided talk shows. When asked if he'd ever return to The View, he replied, "Not unless something changes." What that something was, he didn't specify. In the end, it was a moment that neither side truly won or lost. It revealed deep cracks in how we talk about culture, freedom, and progress. Two legends, each unafraid to speak their truth, collided in front of millions. And while their words may fade from headlines, the impact remains. Some call it a meltdown, others a necessary reckoning. Either way, no one who watched will forget the day Samuel L. Jackson was kicked off The View after a showdown with Whoopi Goldberg.